Right now, Nintendo is being very quiet, and historically, that isn't random. We already know that 2026 is stacked with games. Some have been announced, some are heavily rumoured, and a lot of them are missing one very important thing, and that is a release date. That combination, confirmed projects, vague windows, and a bit of silence from Nintendo always points to one thing: a Nintendo Direct is coming. So today, let's break this down properly. When is the Nintendo Direct likely to happen, based on Nintendo's own history? And more importantly, what does Nintendo need to show? Well, if you enjoyed this video, hit that subscribe button down below for even more Nintendo content here on Power Up Direct. Let's have a look back at Nintendo Direct history first of all. So if you look back over the past decade, Nintendo's behaviour is pretty consistent. The first major Nintendo Direct of the year almost always lands between mid-January and mid-February. January Directs tend to happen when Nintendo needs to reset expectations early, usually tied to new hardware or major strategic shifts. February Directs are more common and they're much more practical. They give Nintendo space to map out the year without rushing, and they hit right when players are desperate for clarity. And I think that is the key word here, clarity, because right now, Nintendo has got good momentum, but it doesn't necessarily have structure. So when is the next Nintendo Direct going to happen? Well, based on past timing, marketing gaps, and what Nintendo still hasn't explained, the most likely window for the next Nintendo Direct is mid-February 2026, specifically the second or third week of the month. And I am going to be specific, and I'm going to say Wednesday, the 18th of February 2026. So that is a prediction. You can mark it in your calendars, and we'll see how that goes. So this is going to give Nintendo room to finalise that Switch 2 messaging, lock in the first half of the year release dates, they can coordinate third-party reveals, and also avoid anything clashing with Pokemon at the back end of the year, or maybe some Mario marketing. Nintendo doesn't necessarily need to rush these things, so when it goes quiet, it's usually lining things up, not necessarily falling behind. Okay, next up, what does this Nintendo Direct need to do? So this isn't going to be one of those one more thing kind of directs. It doesn't need shock reveals. What we need is answers. Nintendo already told us some of its big 2026 games. What it hasn't told us is when we're going to be playing them, how they're going to be positioned, and where the Switch 2 fits into all of this. So I do think this Direct needs to assign real release windows, clarify Switch versus Switch 2 support, and also show some confidence in the 2026 roadmap. And that starts with games already announced. So first up, we got Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave. This is one of the biggest question marks Nintendo's got at the minute. It's confirmed and clearly well into development, but Nintendo has gone pretty quiet since the reveal last year. That's normally a sign the game is waiting for a release date, not more development time, and so in this Direct, Fire Emblem feels like a late spring or maybe early summer title, positioned as a major release before the year gets crowded. So I would expect a new trailer, a firm release month, and a stronger focus on what makes it different from the last game, Fire Emblem Engage. Next up we got Tomodachi Life. This is exactly the kind of game Nintendo loves to slide into a Direct and let social media do the rest. It's strange, nostalgic, very shareable, and that's pretty powerful. So if it happens here, it's likely to get a summer 2026 release date framed as a lighter, more playful counterpart to its heavier RPG and action games. I don't think Nintendo's going to over-explain this one. It won't need to, we just need a firm release date. Next up, we've got Yoshi and the Mysterious Book. So this one feels like a classic Nintendo move. It's visually charming, mechanically approachable, and easy to underestimate as well. This is the kind of game that fills gaps in the calendar, ends up being remembered far more fondly than expected. So in this Direct, I would imagine getting a deeper gameplay look, a late spring 2026 release date, and helping flesh out Nintendo's first half of the year lineup. Next up, we got the Zelda 40th anniversary. So 2026 marks 40 years of The Legend of Zelda, and Nintendo, I don't think they're going to let this milestone pass without some major recognition, even though it hasn't really mentioned it or it's been downplaying expectations. So this Direct does not need to announce a brand new Zelda game, it's too soon after Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. What Nintendo can do is confirm how it plans to celebrate the series' legacy. That might be a remaster, a remake, or simply a roadmap. Let us know what they're planning for Zelda in the future. A February Direct is the perfect place to plant the flag for Zelda's 40th anniversary without dominating the entire presentation. Next up, we've got Splatoon Raiders. This one feels like Nintendo's anchor for the back half of 2026. Splatoon has become one of Nintendo's most important franchises, not because of sales, but because of engagement. If Raiders appears here, expect it to be positioned as a late 2026 release, with emphasis on longevity, online features. They're definitely going to want to promote game chat, and also Switch 2 enhancements as well. Next up, we've got a pair from Software. Duskbloods, first of all. This one is the kind of reveal Nintendo used to change the mood of a Direct. A short, atmospheric trailer, minimal explanation, maximum intrigue. Whether it's first party or a close partner project, this one would exist to send a clear message. Switch 2 isn't just for children or cozy games. This one can have a From Software game as well. So hopefully we're going to get a release date for Duskbloods, and again, I would imagine that's probably going to be in the latter part of 2026. Then we got Elden Ring. So if Nintendo wants to prove a point about Switch 2, it's not going to talk about specs, but it's going to show the games. And nothing is going to make that statement louder than Elden Ring. So apparently, Elden Ring was not running very well. It needed more time in the oven, so when they do reveal it, it's got to be right. Cyberpunk 2077 ran pretty well on this console, but we've had other examples too, like Hitman. That did not run well on release, so Elden Ring has to get it right. Even a brief confirmation is probably going to dominate headlines from this Direct. It's all going to be about what the Switch 2 is capable of and how seriously Nintendo wants to be taken running these types of games on the Switch 2. Well, finally, we've got the prospect of a new 3D Mario. So if Nintendo wants one more moment that carries the whole Direct, it is Mario. Not a full reveal, not necessarily gameplay, maybe just a logo and a title as well. Nintendo has done this before, and it does tend to work, and it draws attention. So I think this Nintendo Direct is about certainty. It's about showing players that 2026 isn't vague or risky or half-planned, but it's carefully structured. All the signs point to a February Direct. It's mid-February. I think I said Wednesday the 18th of February, so you can mark that one in your calendars. The games are ready, the calendar needs clarity, and Nintendo's been quiet since their last major Direct. Well, let me know what you think. What do you want to see in the next Nintendo Direct? And also, when do you think it's going to be? Well, that is it for this video today, looking at the next Nintendo Direct, and thank you so much for watching or for listening. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below for even more Nintendo content here on Power Up Direct. Thanks again, I'll see you real soon.